Hey, so one of the biggest things that we're going through in this season is violation of privacy. People not understanding that certain things were put into certain places for your protection. A lot of times you're taught to fight against the Constitution. We don't fight against the Constitution. I cannot swear to the Constitution, but I will defend the Constitution, if you understand what I'm saying. I cannot swear to uphold the Constitution because of my religious beliefs, but I will say I uphold the Constitution. What we're dealing with is a society that's teaching you guys to be docile and ran over. Okay, you have a right to bear arms, right? How many of you guys have implemented and inserted that right to bear arms? A lot of times we don't. You have a right to due process. How many of us have implemented that right to due process? A lot of times we don't. We have all these rights, but if we don't know that we have those rights, we don't have those rights. So, what we're dealing with is an antichrist society. I know what you guys are saying. Antichrist deals with the government? Yes, it is very antichrist in the governmental system. We're dealing with wicked times. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to the TV show or the movie that's out now called Wicked. Wicked, if you actually read that book or listening to it on Audible, there's a lot more going on with politics than with what people may think. So when we're dealing with wicked times like such as today, we're dealing with more political issues than ever before. We are learning how we may have been taken advantage of, not being aware, not upholding certain rights that we supposed to have, and being preoccupied just with doing what we have to do from day to day. We have people right now today that are being attacked on the job. We're trying to tell parents, hey, COVID's going on. They don't even know what COVID is. I'm dealing with certain situations where I can't sit nothing down because I'm dealing with COVID. And when I say I can't sit anything down, if I drop a bottle, sometimes somebody's going to come pick that bottle up. I'm being blanked out, bottles being missing. And I'm like, where is the bottle? You get what I'm saying? So we're dealing with COVID. COVID is something what a lot of people aren't talking about, which is a part of that wicked time. They are blinding you. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So basically, we're dealing with a time where we're dealing with the devil. Our eyes are covered. They trying to dumbfound us. They trying to put us in a state where we're enslaved. So we're dealing with the devil. The devil comes to do what? Steal from you. Why are you stealing from me? I can't tell you. I get paid. I'm going to tell you, I work two jobs. One thing about me, I sit up there and I budget to the T. I estimate certain things before I do certain things. I check certain things before I check certain things. I try to make sure all my I's are dotted, all my T's are crossed, everything goes the way it's supposed to go. So I do calculations. I calculate if I work this many days, this is how much I'm supposed to get. For taxes, I can examine my taxes and say, okay, well, this is how much I'm going to get for taxes. And I know it should be more than this, but I know this is how much I should be having within that range, right? But when you're dealing with wicked times, they're stealing directly from your check because you cannot see any difference. Some of the people that are dealing with you cannot see any different. They have blind them as well. Some of the people that's correcting errors, they will go about and blind them. So they now deals with the devil too, because the devil started to realize I can't steal from that person. We're talking about inflation. There is no inflation. The inflation is the fact that we're blind and another person wants us to take care of them while they sit on their sorry behind and do nothing and enslave our people. That's what's really taking place. But nobody's talking about those issues when we really do need to express, okay, well, look, I can't take care of you and me on a one person's salary. We're dealing with them. They will watch your child starve and take all your child food and feed your child feces, knowing that you set up there and you prepared a proper meal, and they'll do you the same way. They have no respect for nobody. But we're dealing with these people and they call themselves wicked people. I guess you can be wicked when nobody can see you. I guess you can be wicked when people are in simulation, being raped off and abused, and you feel like you got the upper hand and they can't move. You be as wicked as you want to be. But these are the times that we're dealing with, which goes back to why constitutional rights was put into place. They're trying to stop you from going where you want to go, doing what you want to do, becoming successful. Let me be real with you. They only do this to people that they know is a threat to them. How are you a threat to them when you have nothing? How are you a threat to them? It's not about what you have, it's what you're willing to do. You're willing to go the extra mile and provide for yourself. You're willing to educate yourself. You're willing to go back and rebuild foundational structural issues in your life with education, with any and everything. Just say, I'm here now. I'm at 40 something. I'm here now at 40 something, and I'm willing to go back to humbling myself as a child and relearning all those fundamental skills that I didn't pick up as a child. But while you're doing this, you're still under attack, right? So the enemy wants you to think you lost something. So every time you're learning something, you're like, man, I can't remember nothing I learned. I can't remember nothing I learned. Why can't you remember? Because you know that you're under attack by the enemy. You know that the enemy is trying to take control. And I'm like, man, I done learned all this stuff. I done did all this stuff. I can't really remember it like I want to. And sometimes it's taking 2 times for you to redo something. And you're like, man, I redid that twice. Why did I have to redo it twice? I should have got that on the first go round. You're having to redo it twice because the enemy's sitting up there trying to steal from you that one time when you should have it that one time. He wants what you do first. She wants what you do first. So you sitting up there, you may be learning a different language. So you have to sometimes go back and review the language that you learned because the enemy is trying to take that first harvest from you. They want your first harvest, like as if it's theirs. They trying to play God. Remember, in the Garden of Eden, you had them sitting around. Man has become like us. Man hadn't became like them. Man always was supposed to be the spitting image of who? God. But they say man has became like who? Like us. This is after the curse. This is after disobedience. This is after that. Man has became like us. Who is us? Have you fallen? Both male and female, because he created both of them, and both of them has been disobedient. So both of them have became disobedient. Who do you think is saying man has became like us? And if they reach from this tree of life again, they will gain eternal life. We have to get them out of the garden. So they masquerade up and keep them out of paradise. God didn't kick them out. God didn't kick them out. They masquerading up. They trying to take your paradise. They trying to take your blessing. They're trying to take your growth. They trying to take your prosperity. This is part of the reason why I tell people, when I start to read, I started doing Gateway Bible. Because a lot of times I'm not really getting what I need to get from one Bible. And it's the reason why we're not getting it, because we're not understanding that this thing is working on different planes and levels and different tiers. You get what I'm saying? We need some actual instructional guidance, and we're going to find it amongst the tribes of God. So a lot of times when we send up there and we like Latter-day Saints, okay, this is the people of God. This is the people that's serving God, but we're in the last days. So I got to sit up there and I got to get the Book of Norman and sit up there and try to understand, okay, well, look, these are the last days and it's a lot going on. God, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to take this, man. It's so much going on. And we have scriptures. We have clergies that have wrote down, hey, this is what's going on. This is how we're going to tackle it. And this is the plan. We got people on the field that's ready to fight and ready to sit up there and run the ball. We got some real saints out there. But what's happening is that we're caught up in the attack. That's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to keep you in confusion. But God say, when you feel most confused, lean to the word of God. That's good. That's good advice. Okay, I'm feeling most confused. I'm going to lean to the word of God, right? I'm in school and I'm having problems with studying and stuff like that. What am I going to do? That's God. The school belongs to God too. That's God's territory too. That's why you're fighting so hard to retain and stuff like that. What I want you to do, I want you to study and then give it to God. Study, give it to God. And go claim what's yours. Because God already know we're in the battlefield. But what the enemy wants you to do is you're going to constantly procrastinate. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I don't feel ready. And all that time while you're saying you don't feel ready and you're not ready, God has already prepared you to conquer, even if it takes you having to do something twice. God has already prepared for you to conquer. Follow the advice of wise people that are instructing you on what to do because they've been there. Because they've been there. I'm going to be real with you. Hard-headed people gets nowhere. So when you start to hear your parents say, sweetheart, I've been there. I have been through what you're going through. Let me advise you. It's not because they don't care for you. They're trying to advise you and guide you so that you don't make the same mistakes that they made so that this generation can get better. So while you're walking around thinking you know everything and you about to cause a generational failure again from your disobedience because you want to be like us, that same us that's in Garden of Eden saying man has become like us, that same disgrace, that same failure, that same ungodliness, that same unrighteousness, that same thing that's trying to play God, man has become like them. I'm going to tell you what's going to really happen to you. If you don't slow down, you don't heed wise instruction, because I have never known a parent that wanted to dishonor their child unless it wasn't their parent, and they will masquerade up as that too. So every time that you see a parent that does not want you to prosper, that's not your parent. Because one thing I know for sure, a person that birthed something into this world is not likely to abandon it. So a lot of times we're going through them masquerading up. I heard young women say, my mom sat up there and she prostituted me out at a party. I was raped as a child because my mom was on drugs. And my mom was this and my mom was that. Let me be real with you. That's a demon. That's not your mama. You went through all of that because you was in camp. And I'm not going to even call it a demon because certain people have gone through demonic possession. So they're not demons, they're going through possession. So let me go a little bit farther. That was something evil. I don't even know what to really name it, because usually we would say a demon, but we don't know about demonic possession. That person was under demonic possession, which means that wasn't your mom. Or that which is ungodly came in the image of your mom, masquerade up. We're dealing with wicked times. And in these wicked times, it's so much that I want to put out there and tell people about. But then I'm like, oh God, this is a lot of people gonna think I'm crazy. But it's the truth. We look at the movie Wicked. The movie has so many things that aren't showed. But when you start reading the book, this woman slept with a man. Her husband is a minister. Her husband wasn't really sleeping with her, but guess who was taking over her husband's position? Who was fighting against her husband the whole time while she was sleeping with her husband? That's how the young woman Elzebah came about. We're dealing with wicked times. They're taking women out of their mind. So what do you have to do? You have heard the story. These men are in warfare. Guess what? I started to realize that the war never stopped. I was a child when these wars began. Anybody who think that, okay, well look, the war is over, we can get married, we can settle down, we can raise a family, we're going to be happy together. They lying to y'all. These wars of wickedness never stop. I'm going to tell you who you might as well marry yourself. Marry yourself to God, devote yourself to God, and say, I'm not going to be sexually active anymore. Because if you don't, you at a loss. Because these wars don't stop. They never end. You're birthing children of your enemy. They didn't like your mama. They didn't like your daddy. And they don't like you. But you ain't able to receive that because guess what? They're enslaving you. We sit up here and we watch movies like Empire, right? And Empire is so biblically connected. Like, if you actually read the Bible, Empire showed forms of that. Lucius, he's in charge, right? Okay, how many times biblically you heard in the Bible where certain men that was in high positions and high authorities had concubines or wives, and the wives began to sleep with their sons? That's a form of wickedness. But what most people don't know, that's a form of a woman being a helper too. Because this man does not want this woman, the other family member can come in and claim that woman or friend. So be careful, because you think, oh, his friend so much loves me. He really like me. He looking at me, or he think I'm cute. Him think I cute. So you falling victim to being a heifer. And what it is, a heifer is something that's mindless, livestock. That's a cow. You falling victim to being a mule for a group of men that have no respect for you. But the reason why you falling victim, because it can happen to anybody. It can happen to a married woman and she not know, and stuff like that. You had Beyonce say, how did this happen? We woke up in hell. How did we wake up in hell? How did we wake up with everything gone? See, y'all listening to these artists, but these artists been trying to tell you a story of a wicked time in their life, but yet and still they're being demonized because they're willing to speak out about it. And the enemy wants you to see them as a demon because they're talking about what's really happening to them. Beyonce hit them with, look, baby, we woke up in the kitchen. How did it happen? I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't sleep with nobody. Did you sleep with somebody? And now we got to go through a whole night of trouble? A whole night of trouble? A whole night of trouble? So imagine. And you got Jay-Z saying, look, we started reading up on biblical things. We started researching biblical things. But they're all over the news right now talking about Diddy parties. What really good? What really good? Because I can tell you from personal experience that when I went in court, and I've been in some court cases and stuff like that, and I know I didn't do nothing wrong, they still was throwing out charges. I still had to go through like I was the guilty person. I didn't do this. But there was no innocence found for me. There was plenty of evidence saying, look, she didn't do it. She's innocent. We didn't even use the proper protocols. We didn't do this. And I'm used to saying, hey, if the proper protocols wasn't used, if the woman didn't do it, and all of this is not how this is supposed to go. But guess what? That's how it went. Simulation or no simulation. Because what goes down below goes up top. And although we tend to think, okay, well, it's different. It's not. It's going to forever be like that. Even if there's an agreement in place, well, it's not going to go down like that up top. I have seen, you show your tail down here. You can show your tail underground. And when you above ground, I want you to remember the same game you played below ground goes on up ground. So now you out of the grave, know what it is. We have to wake you guys up to the fact that there are guidance and protocols to all this stuff. But nobody want to follow the protocol. You know why? Because that's an automatic lose for them. These ungodly people been losing for quite some time. These Antichrist people been losing for quite some time. They don't care. They women don't care. Guess what? They trying to drive your women into hoism. They women already in hoism. They women asleep with your woman, you, and the whole crew. And they through. And half of those women are livestock. They're under demonic possession. They livestock. And that's what their goal is for every woman and man that's out there, to make y'all livestock. So how am I going to sustain myself? Okay, I start off with the simple things. Okay, we got the Holy Bible. What, they tampering with that? Come on now, somebody. They tampering with that. So now I got to sit up here. And you know what? That's part of my next mission. I got to sit up here and minister this thing like it's supposed to be ministered, because I'm starting to realize that we have these issues going on, and I really got to take the time out and minister this thing the way it needs to be ministered, record it the way it needs to be recorded, so that y'all can get an understanding of where I am getting these scriptures from. Because to be totally honest, there's a lot of messages that we're missing. There's a lot of things that we're missing. And eventually I got to sit up here and I got to break this thing down so that we can actually receive what God is saying. Because we're not too high above. We got the Quran. Everybody got the Quran. That's called a holy book. My faith is holiness. Okay, grab that Quran, man. Pick that up. Read that. Okay, you got the Book of the Norman. The Book of the Norman doesn't have holy before it, but they start with the Book of the Norman. They also read the Holy Bible. So come on, what is Norman's trying to tell you? What is these Normans trying to tell you? What was the Latter-day Saints trying to tell you? They done been here. They done been through apocalyptic times. They done sat up there and survived it, representing God the whole way, holding down the armor. What are they trying to tell us? Okay, now we transition into politics. There is a reason we keep hearing, okay, the Constitution is a living, breathing document. The Constitution is a living, breathing document. We have to be careful because they will try to make changes to this living, breathing document. That living, breathing document was a way for us to fight against the Antichrist. You have a right to bear arms. You have a right to due process. You have a right to a jury of your peers. They trying to take you away from having a jury of your peers. Okay, if I'm in the right, why would you want to take me away from a jury of my peers? They haven't influenced the whole world yet. It's still time out there. We must minister and preach the gospel so that we can save souls. They're incarcerating righteous people right now for no reason at all. They've been doing this for quite some time. So we say, if we didn't do anything wrong, they ain't going to do nothing to us. They can't mess with us. How about, who cares if you did something wrong or not? How about they still going to point you out and do you however the hell they want to do you? How about, I wish it was simpler, but it isn't. Let's put on the armor of God. What is the armor of God? Let's sit up there and cover you with the word of God. Let's give you some righteousness. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of things that want me half naked in this season. I'm going to be real with you. I keep my head covered. I got 2 braids up underneath this scully. They sit up there. They talking about this a shiesty or whatever the case may be. I got 2 braids up underneath there. I keep my 2 braids. All I do is wash, grease my hair, and I perm it ever so often when it gets too nappy for me to actually comb it out. Other than that, I'm pretty much like an all natural person with all natural hair. All I do is comb, grease, wash, sit up there and trim my split ends. That's it. And make sure that I'm taking good care of myself, right? In this season, a lot of people angry about this. But at the first beginning of this season, you say women didn't want to wear a head covering. This is the wickedness of these people. Women don't believe in wearing hair coverings and stuff like that. And ever since I was a child, my desire was to always wear my head covering. A lot of people don't know that, because whether you grew up Pentecostal, whether Baptist, whether Christian, no matter what you was, every woman supposed to cover their head. So I don't care what faith you in. So a lot of people look at me and, are you Muslim? No, I'm not Muslim. I am a woman of God. This is part of the holy faith. So we cover ourselves. We cover our head. We cover our body. Modest attire. So I'm going in the stores, and a lot of times you see these shirts that's like fitted. So I'm buying clothes sometimes 2 and 3 sizes bigger than me, because I don't want to look like I got a girl on with the clothes that I have on. And it's ridiculous. And I have always been like this, to wear clothes that's super big. So a lot of times people get like, why would you need a 3X? And you're like, what? An extra large or large or something like that? I need a 3X because I need some fabric to cover my tail. I'm sick and tired of y'all not knowing what fabric is. I need stuff to cover my body. I don't want my body showing to the world. I don't want to wear certain clothes that make me look a certain way or make me look inappropriate. Because we have men that are being tested, I'm going to say. You got women that are being tested as well. So a lot of times we just blaming the men. Women, I'm going to be real with you. The enemy trying to use you for all kinds of ungodliness. We have to prepare our people to know how to take on the full armor of God. If you do not sit up there and take on the armor of God, these people going to have 100% control over you. And how they're getting it is through you sinning. Okay, I know you like your boyfriend, but guess what? Boyfriend didn't marry you. I know you got plans on being a husband. Guess what, sweetheart? I want you to forget, or plans on being a wife. Sweetheart, I need you to forget about being a wife. I need you to forget, men, about being a husband. I need you to focus on God, because the enemy is winning in this season through wickedness and sin. Take the armor of God and stop sinning. Take the armor of God and actually fight the battle that needs to be fought, because there's so much more going on.